one kid says one dumb thing tomorrow about Baker Mayfield or anything, I'm punching a kid.
Boom!
Mr. Brotherly Love here, Chris Giacobello.
I know how to turn the mics on, Dan.
That's a good thing to
We
know.
got it. Progress.
I'm the first lady of the Blitz, Emma Nosby.
Let's just shout out everything.
Aquafina.
Aquafina?
I'm sorry, it's the water bottle from the vending machine.
My name's Dan Dale, a.k.a. Double D.
You're quiet. I can barely hear you.
Why am I quiet? Why am I quiet?
Dan, you're quiet.
How am I ever quiet?
Welcome back to the Blitz on 91.
The Blitz on 91.3 FM.
Live here from Buffalo State University.
Welcome back to the Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative station since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. My name is Evan Harrington. We have almost a full house today in studio. We have most of the Blitz crew here today with us, with a new face as well. But just want to say, first of all, joined in Studio A by Frank the Tank Lopez, over Emma Nosby, Justin Bachman, Spike, and the new face in the Blitz in Studio B, Alex Miley. First of all, how are you guys doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
I'm amped up for this weekend.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so
And
feeling great.
yeah, so Alex, first time joining us here. Thank you for coming on. Alex, a little backstory of Alex. We do take a class together, and the other day I asked him if he would like to partake in doing the Blitz here at 91.3 FM WBNY, and here we are, Friday afternoon. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be on the show.
Yes, and thank you for joining. So we have a lot to get into today. Obviously, like Frank mentioned, he's excited for this weekend for a lot of reasons. We have Sabres hockey. There's Bills news to talk about. The draft is right around the corner. March Madness is going on.
Yes, sir.
WrestleMania is tomorrow and Sunday for people who are into WWE. There's a lot of that going on in the sports world. But before we get into all of that, myself and Alex and weren't here Wednesday to talk about the Stefan Diggs news.
Oh, yeah.
And
Let's get into
there's been also a little more that has come out the last couple days in between Wednesday and today is Friday about the Bills wide receiver getting traded to the Houston Texans. So I want to kind of just get everyone's initial thoughts on the trade. Stefan Diggs gets traded to Houston. The Bills get back a second-round pick. We take on $31 million in dead cap. I'll start with you, Alex. Just what are your initial thoughts in kind of processing it about 3 days later?
As much as it's going to hurt to see someone of Diggs' caliber go, I really love the trade. To be able to get early second next year, because Minnesota is not projected to be very good, get off his contract in the coming years for a player that, quite frankly, we don't really need anymore. Last year, after Joe Brady took over, even though he was getting the targets, he wasn't producing because we didn't need his style of play. We had Shakir, we had Kincaid for those short passes, the intermediate passes. We needed someone to be able to take the top off the defense, which he just can't do anymore. So that's where we go into the draft and we go and get someone that is going to be able to do that. So I really do think Bean did a great job in being able to get the value while he could.
How about you, Spike?
It's over. You're cooked. That's about it. That's pretty much about it. I feel great about this trade.
And Justin, you're a Jaguars fan.
I am.
This is in your division, the AFC South. You will be seeing Stefan Diggs not 14 anymore, but now is number 1.
He is?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, sugar, that is.
So
He paid Jimmy Ward around like $100K for the number.
yeah, about $100,000 he paid for the jersey number 1.
Just to go to 1.
So you're going to be seeing the All-Pro in your division twice a year now.
Yeah, and he's 31 years old. I don't care. The big thing about Stefan Diggs is, you got the value for him. I do believe you could have got more. I strongly believe you probably could have got. I just think more picks. I don't think you could have got a higher pick. I don't think anybody's forking out a first rounder for Stefan Diggs. But I do think you probably could have got a couple of late round picks maybe instead of giving up a couple of late round picks, as well as, of course, Stephon Diggs to get that second round pick. But the value's good. I'm glad you got Minnesota's second rather than Houston's, because I can see that team being scary as much as I don't like it. It is a little intimidating from Houston. It's 2019 all over again when they had Deshaun Watson and all those guys over there cooking. And now they've got an even younger and more stacked roster with the exception of Stephon Diggs. I don't think he's going to be anything more than the wide receiver 2 there, and honestly, I think he's going to drop down to the wide receiver 3 before the end of the season. I think Tank Dell is going to take that wide receiver 2 spot. But this is a team that didn't need Stephon Diggs, but the rich got richer. And you can be scared about it as an AFC South member, as I am. But my secondary did improve over the offseason. My defense improved over the offseason. And, of course, we still got the draft, and we have 9 picks in that draft. Hopefully we can make use out of them.
And you made an interesting point there. Stephon Diggs may not be more than the receiver 2. And you said he might even be the receiver 3 by the end of the year.
I truly believe that.
Not even years ago, not even 6-7 months ago, we were watching Stephon Diggs be on pace to break his best season here in Buffalo. He was on pace to destroy records for his personal, self. And then the second half drop off happened.
If he gets back to that form, I can see it. But at the end of the day, you're going into your age 31 season. You have a Nico Collins who, frankly, should have been an all-pro last year, and the fact that he wasn't is borderline disrespectful. And Tank Dell, who, had he not gotten injured, probably would have been 1 and 2 between him and C.J. Stroud for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, the things that these guys were doing together, him and Tank Dell have a chemistry that, I mean, most quarterback ones and wide receivers, they never have that chemistry coming out. They're both rookies. They played in rivaling conferences. These guys knew nothing about each other. And then they get on the same team, and now they look like borderline superstars. And Nico Collins has come into his own now that he actually has the targets, and he was getting used as a number 1 wide receiver. I don't think they're going to drop him out of that role because of how well he flourished there. And I do think they're going to stick Tank Dell in the slot for now, which gives Stephon Diggs one-on-one targets on an island with either a wide receiver, with either a cornerback 1 whose coach is believing that Stephon Diggs is still Stephon Diggs, or a CB2 on a better team that has a good 1-2 punch at corner.
And mind you that all 3 of these receivers can play inside and out.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a permanent slot, permanent outside with the Houston Texans.
I think Nico Collins might be the outside.
Now, Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs are going to primarily play most of their snaps at the outside.
Yeah.
At the X and the Y. But there is a good chance that we see Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell all around the field.
Yeah, no,
there's going to be no permanent placement for these guys.
There absolutely is.
Stephon Diggs can work and win in the slot.
Yeah, he can, but
as best as he could outside too.
But
and same for the other 2 guys.
He's never had not the X position. He's always been that wide receiver 1. He's always been the first option for every team that he's been on. Even
outside of Minnesota.
Even that, I mean, who are you throwing the ball to? Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen?
Adam Thielen
at the time. Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen was the guy in Minnesota.
I mean, yes, but he was also in the slot. Adam Thielen was a slot wide receiver.
Adam Thielen was playing outside too. He was getting number 1 targets.
Yeah, I mean it was 60-40. I mean he was on the outside, but even then
Diggs was racking 60 reception seasons.
Yeah, so you still got him at that number 2, but he's always played on the outside. But for the last few years, he's been that number 1 option. It was Stephon Diggs and everybody else in Buffalo. Yeah. And that last season that he was in Minnesota, it was Stephon Diggs and everybody else. Adam Thielen was starting to turn down the clock. And, and I'm happy to see what he's doing in Carolina to go on an off point. Adam Thielen's still Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
But can Stephon Diggs still be Stephon Diggs when he's not in that wide receiver 1 role? And I think it's finally going to be proven just how 1, much of a team player he is, because I don't think he's going to be the wide receiver one there, and I hope he doesn't get all cranky and whiny about it. But 2, can he still flourish in that wide receiver 2 role where he's going to have more double coverage between a number 2 corner and then a safety dropping down to help that number 2 corner?
Yeah.
We're going to see what happens.
And you mentioned the team player aspect, and if he's going to take that role, if he's going to take the role of not being the number 1 guy. I'm sure at first it's going to be a little bit of a battle. Maybe we'll see Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs be a 1A, 1B. I think that's something that's possible, and Collins will remind Diggs that, hey, this is my team. You're coming here to help out. You're not coming here to do what happened in Buffalo and Minnesota. And this kind of goes to my next point. I'll bring Emma and Frank here, and then everyone else can kind of join in here. Are we all on board that Stephon Diggs was kind of a head case for Buffalo over the last 2 years? I mean, there was just an article from Tim Graham in The Athletic that mentioned that after, Alex, you remember, week 1?
Yeah, it was the week 1 loss to the Jets.
Yeah, week 1 loss to the Jets. He's a Jets fan, by the way.
Spike,
Sorry,
not
Alex.
Alex. Not Alex.
Sorry, Alex.
Context.
Yeah, context. Sorry, Alex. I stuck you next to him. First episode stuck you next to a Jets fan. But, yeah, so Allen was talking to Kyle Allen. And, obviously, first game, we all remember what happened in that loss. And Tim Graham mentioned that we don't know what Stephon Diggs came up to and said to Josh Allen after the game, as everyone was kind of patting Josh on the back and dapping him up to just kind of, calm him down as he had a towel over his head. But Josh got up and said it was one effing game. It was one effing game once to Diggs in a uncharacter-like Josh tone response back. But it left a lot of people, thinking that Diggs said something. And it wasn't something that should have been uttered to Josh, right, Alex?
Yeah. Now, Josh has never been someone to really blow up like that, especially if Diggs was coming over to congratulate him. So I expected Diggs probably said something negative, maybe mad at him for the interceptions he threw. Josh wasn't even talking to him at the time. He had arguably one of the worst games of his career. So my guess is Diggs said something bad, and it just set him over the edge. And it really just goes to show how fractured the relationship between the Bills, Josh Allen, and Stephon Diggs has gotten over the last couple of years.
I don't want to say it was fractured. I want to say it's because we're all human. We're all going to, get pissed and all this other stuff, and we're all going to, get mad over things and also be happy over things. Like, a relationship is never going to be 100% perfect. So I don't want to say that the relationship for sure was, fractured, but it was more just the facts of, I don't know. How do I try to explain?
I see your point, but I think it was absolutely fractured. And to the point of Stephon Diggs being the head case, look at just the past 2 years of everything of Stephon Diggs being in the headlines of whether he's in Buffalo, whether he's out. Trayvon Diggs getting involved.
See, this gets into the conversation. This gets into another conversation that I want to have, where it's why is it always Stephon Diggs and not any other wide receiver or any other player that would get like this? I know the internet is the internet, but at the same time, it's why specifically Stephon Diggs? Why not any other player that would act like this? Because there have been players that would act like that, throughout the league, over how many years it's been? 100+ years.
Jay Jettas got like that. They did an article on him when he was kind of on the sideline,
But it just seems like Steph is 24/7 every single time.
But that's because Diggs is doing it 24/7.
Diggs has a track record.
It's
from when
literally
he's in Minnesota.
When we're looking at him, he's continuously doing it. So if we see him doing it, we have to keep track of it.
Have we ever seen the video in Minnesota of the players going around the locker room saying that they would not let Stephon Diggs date their sister?
Okay, but that's funny.
Enough said. Enough
That's
said.
funny.
Enough
But they
said.
all pick Diggs. Obviously, it's a joke, but if they're all picking Diggs,
they know something.
There's definitely something that they're not going to show to the media. You don't take a $31 million dead cap hit if you have a perfect relationship with him.
But here's the thing of the 31 dead
after
cap.
4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and you don't remove receivers off your team at 30 years old.
Stage 1 denial.
Oh my God, Spike, bro. Okay,
I mean, the Jets haven't made the playoff in years, so.
Four straight Super Bowls.
4 plays.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm
4
saying.
snaps.
Everybody, I feel like, is just reading into this way too freaking much. Y'all are like freaking Swifties whenever she puts something up on Instagram. My thing is that, because I didn't give my opinion, because I was only on for the second hour, and they already talked about it in the first hour. I think that Bean is just thinking in the future. The magic year like the magic number is the year 2027. That's where like all of the contracts, even I think McDermott and Bean's contracts as well, are up until 2027. So I feel like that they have all of this leeway to make sure that they get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl or whatever else or whatever the goal is over there until that year. And I feel like Bean is just thinking more in a future stance. And honestly, I think it's really smart. I mean, at the same time, you also got to think back. I mean, I always bring up the episode of Friends where it's the one where everyone turns 30 and Rachel's thinking, oh my God, I'm so old. But yeah, in the world of athletics, once you hit the number 30, you are old. So it's just one of those things where it's like the future. Like you can see in the current present day, early 2020s, when Josh was still developing that, yeah, we needed Diggs. But now I don't think we do. And that's totally okay. And I think they're going to go down the route of kind of like a Mahomes and Kelsey thing with Allen and Kincaid. That's how I see who's going to be the number one receiver is everyone's thinking Shakir. No, it's probably going to be Kincaid.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this offseason, the main goal was to get cheaper and younger, and we did. With all the cuts, I think people are overreacting.
Yes.
Because if you look at last year, all the players that they got rid of were not key contributors to the success. Poyer and Hyde were old. They weren't playing very well. Trey White was injured. Saron Neal was just a special teams guy. I mean, Morse sucks a little bit. McGovern has plenty of experience at center. And Diggs, the second half last year, despite getting all these targets, was not producing like a number one receiver. So we were able to win games with him getting 20, 30 yards while we were relying on Shakir and Kincaid to take more of the offensive load. So I think Bean realized this, and in the offseason, he was able to get off these contracts. And then going into next season, now we have these young guys. It's their time to shine. And then next offseason, we have a bunch of cap space. We don't have many players left to re-sign. I think we can go back into the making moves to win now to increase our chances coming into 25 and 26.
Yeah, it's going to be, what, $50 million in cap space the Bills are going to have?
I mean, you're seeing what Green Bay is doing with, like, the young offense and stuff like that, and it worked out for them. They made it all the way up to the divisional round, and plus, I mean...
Mind you, they have a quarterback not on a big contract like Allen's.
That's
well, they will
thing.
have to soon, so we'll see how that turns out.
Exactly. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like everything that this team is doing to succeed all has to do with what is best for Josh and what Josh can succeed with. Like, keep calm. We still have Josh. Yeah, the end. End of story.
Now, I want to start with Frank here. The big topic of conversation, and this is the one I just do not like looking at on Twitter. I just want to respond to every comment when I see this, is that people are like, well, Josh Allen's going to return to his bum old self, his year one and year two state.
What?
Because he does not have Stephon Diggs anymore, the guy who bailed him out and made him look good. Right? Because the 50 touchdowns Josh Allen had combined in the regular season and the postseason was all Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh Allen in his second half run was all Stephon Diggs, even though he was only shoring up for 45 yards a game. Mind you, he did a lot off the stat sheet that I don't think it's talked about. But can we have the conversation like Stephon Diggs did not make Josh Allen, but I want to iterate that Josh Allen doesn't take the big year 3 jump that he had if it wasn't for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
he doesn't take that jump. But I also want to say that Josh Allen is taking that jump with or without Stephon Diggs. He's taking the jump. Is he having the MVP caliber year he did with Diggs? No, I don't think he has. But Josh Allen would have still been in consideration for a contract extension. I still think the Bills make the playoffs and win the division, all that stuff. The Bills got 13 wins, and a big part of that was Allen and Diggs. And there's no disputing that, in my opinion. But for people to go and say that Stephon Diggs was the sole reason that Josh Allen became Josh Allen, I think is just utterly inaccurate, uneducated, and blasphemy. I'm using Stephen A. Smith's term.
I was just about to say that. Blasphemy.
Stay off
the weed.
What are your guys' thoughts on that? Start with you, Frank.
Yeah, I mean, I agree absolutely that maybe the year 3 step doesn't necessarily like evolve without Diggs, but up until this point, it's been Josh Allen's show. It's not Diggs is out there leading the way. It's Josh Allen's show. And if you look at it, the second half of the season literally proved it, as where Diggs was getting the same amount of targets, but he was not putting up the same amount of numbers. Even the what was it? Was it the divisional game?
The game against the Chiefs?
Yeah. Josh threw it up 65 yards, basically pinpoint. Diggs is right there, collapses his arm, and not able to hold on to it. So I think, yeah, sure, Diggs is responsible for helping Josh develop into the quarterback he is now. But for the past season or two, Diggs has not been the sole reason that the Bills team has won at all whatsoever.
Yeah, if you take a look at Josh Allen when he was coming out, he was thought of as a project tool quarterback. So, of course, he's going to have struggles his first 2 years. But anyone who watched the games and didn't just look at the stat sheets, you saw the flashes, you saw the incredible plays he was going to make. He just needed time to develop. Obviously, getting Stephon Diggs speed ran that, but I think even without him, I think he eventually reaches this point. Obviously, Diggs being there helped it happen year 3 instead of maybe year 4 or 5. Who knows if we stay on to him if we don't get Diggs. But at the same time, Josh is going to be that quarterback regardless. So to be able to say that without Stephon Diggs, Josh is going to go back to 2019 is just shows that you're just looking at the stat sheet and you're not actually putting into contact and not actually watching the games.
And even if you wanted to just say like people are watching the stat sheet, which is, a lot of people do.
Oh, of course.
You can look at the stat sheet from 2018 and 2019. Josh was improving. Like the passing numbers still weren't fully there, but year 1 Josh had
Yeah, I thought 2019 was a good improving year for
he
him.
had 29 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like 29 touchdowns from a quarterback? How many touchdowns did Lamar Jackson have this year? Mind you, he had the passing stats, his completion percentage was good. The turnovers were a lot lower than Josh did in year 2, but getting the ball in the end zone, Josh was doing that in year 2. We all knew Josh was going to be a touchdown machine in year 2. We all knew it. We all knew against the Dolphins in Josh Allen's rookie season where he put up 5 touchdowns at the end of his rookie year. We knew Josh Allen was going to be a problem. We didn't know when it was going to evolve and take place to where he's at now. But we knew in year 1 against the Dolphins, when we saw that game, that something big was going to happen. We saw throughout the year of 2019 where Josh and the Bills went 10-6, made the playoffs. They had a 2-score lead on the Houston Texans in the playoffs. We knew that, yes, this team's young, this quarterback's young, but with the right players, the right support staff, the right defense behind him, this is going to be a great player to lead your franchise going forward. And it wasn't because of number 14. Stephon Diggs was a major jumpstart in Josh Allen's career. Yes. And when Josh Allen retires in the future, in whatever amount of years that is, and when you take a look back at his career, the awards he's won, the big games he was in, if he ever reaches the Hall of Fame, if you look at stuff like that, you are going to look at the 4 years Stephon Diggs was here, and you are going to go, that was the receiver that helped Josh get onto his path, but not the receiver that made Josh Allen. That wasn't Stephon Diggs did not make Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs helped jumpstart Josh Allen.
Molded him.
Yeah, molded him. Yeah.
I'll play devil's advocate here just because I can. But I do think to an extent Stephon Diggs did make Josh Allen. And the reason I say that is because when they brought him in, the receivers that Josh Allen was trying to develop with were Cole Beasley and John Brown. And then you give him one off season, like the off season between 2020 and 2021, Josh Allen went from borderline starter to borderline top 5.
Do you think he was a borderline starter with 29 touchdowns?
I would say he was average.
All right, yeah, I'll give you slightly below average. I wouldn't put him in like the top. I wouldn't after 2019. I probably wouldn't have said he was a top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean top 15.
Okay.
I'd probably say he was probably 16 or 17.
But that's.
But it's good, right? Like it's good. And then you give him that off season with Diggs, and he went from having none of it to having all of it. And I think that true development did not come in the regular season. I think the chemistry got built more and more during the regular season between him and Diggs. But in the offseason, he finally had a wide receiver who could go out there and actually work routes against their defense. That obviously they're practicing against their own defense. And you had a wide receiver that could finally get open, finally run routes, and finally create space, and have Josh Allen actually be forced to throw it into space, to throw it to an open receiver, instead of just launching it up to John Brown because he's fast, or throwing a dink and dunk to Cole Beasley because all he does is run slants. Like, now you had this wide receiver who came in who was great. He had a route tree. He had true development.
Probably the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and you finally give him this wide receiver that can go out there and help him make good passes. And I will say that Stephon Diggs was the guy to make Josh Allen go from here to here.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of alluding to is like, I'm not like the one thing that always like, I guess grinds my gears a little bit is when people say Josh only became Josh because of Stephon Diggs.
I won't say that, but I do think it was
because the big thing with Josh
help.
was mechanics.
Yeah,
the big thing with Josh was mechanics
because he was never forced to use him.
Yes,
and he wasn't forced to use him in Wyoming. Wasn't forced to use him in his first 2 years in the league because he didn't have a wide receiver that could go out there and help him by
but he learned all those
mechanics
with Jordan Palmer
and Brian Dable.
Brian Dable is quarterback coach in the OC.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that,
coach.
but not. He was forced to use them with Diggs.
Yes, and that came before Diggs, and then he applied them with Diggs.
Yes. You also have to look at the fact that not only did Stephon Diggs have a career year with Josh Allen, so did John Brown and Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley was a second-team All-Pro under Josh Allen.
Crazy to think about.
Yeah, he was just an average slot receiver in Dallas. John Brown was just known as a deep threat when he was in Arizona or wherever he was before he came to Buffalo. It was Arizona, and then I think somewhere else. And then he comes to Buffalo, and he has, I think, 1,000 or very near 1,000.
John had 1,000 yards his first year.
Cole Beasley had his best years in Buffalo. Stephon Diggs had his best years in Buffalo. So especially Gabe Davis, obviously.
Hey, you just hold a pause on that, brother.
So obviously, looking at that, you can see that yes, these receivers help Josh. He has receivers that can get open and stretch the field, but not every quarterback is going to give these receivers their career years. Obviously, Josh has to have the talent to be able to do that too.
He does have a rocket taped to his body, so
he really does.
I would hope so. I would hope he could throw somebody open like a John Brown or a Cole Beasley.
Yeah. So there was about a half an hour discussion of Stephon Diggs talk, and we're going to take a quick break here. But after the break, we will get into what should the Buffalo Bills do at wide receiver as the NFL draft is coming up around the corner. There are two hot commodity names that the Bills could potentially go after in a trade for that are veteran options. But we will get into that just very shortly after a few-minute break. Once again, you're listening to The Blitz on 91.3 FM at WBNY.
Provider of services to law enforcement, the USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
One day, I'll teach chemistry to kids.
I'm going to be an architect.
My dream is to be a chef.
This is a world of possibilities. A world in which people who put their minds to something can really make a difference.
My goal is to help the environment.
Someday, I'll find a cure for cancer. At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we believe that aspiring minds can achieve anything. So we dedicate ourselves to making sure everyone has an opportunity to go to college. Each year, we provide more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds, making higher education possible for anyone at any stage of life.
I can go back to college.
I can change careers.
I can make a difference.
Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
La pandemia de COVID-19 ha afectado nuestras vidas.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Alex, can you hear me?
La pandemia nos ha recordado la centralidad de la familia, la comunidad y nuestros vínculos afectivos. A muchos de nosotros nos ha dejado más aislados, confundidos y luchando por encontrar el sentido ante la pérdida y la incertidumbre.
1 de cada 5 estadounidenses tiene problemas de salud mental, pero muchos no sabemos cómo pedir ayuda.
En la Fundación de la Asociación Americana de Psiquiatría entendemos por lo que está pasando y estamos aquí para ayudarlo. Trabajamos para eliminar el estigma, combatir las enfermedades mentales, los trastornos por consumo de sustancias y construir un país mentalmente sano. Si usted o un ser querido necesita ayuda, no está solo. Visite lasaludmental.org para obtener más información.
Ready for radio that's challenging, innovative, and encouraging? Tune in, Living for the People.
This is L. Nathan Hare. Join me right here, 91.3 FM WBNY. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! We'll provide objective analysis regarding current issues. Call 878-5104. It's Living for the People on 91.3 FM WBNY.
If you're looking for a Jewish music show like no other, Cool Jewish Radio. The Cole Yehudim Show with host Mike Greenberg features the widest variety of Jewish music anywhere. Hear the newest sounds, plus the classics you know and love. Join us every Sunday from 6 till 10 a.m. on 91.3 WBNY. Cool Jewish Radio. The Cole Yehudim Show. Jewish music for the Jewish people.
Now this one is brutal and wild. You don't know, so stepping out sound a champion sound easy universal. Oh, you miss.
Music for yours and mine. Stepping out, giving rub it up all time, yeah.
Yes, Buffalo, once again, you are in tune with the Stepping Out Sound Session. Your host, Universal, here every Sunday night, 5 to 9 p.m., 91.3 WBNY Buffalo.
DJ Universal in the place.
Stepping Out Sound Session, Reggae Radio, every Sunday night, 5 to 9 p.m., 91.3 WBNY Buffalo.
Ready for radio that's challenging, innovative, and encouraging? Tune in, Living for the People.
This is L. Nathan Hare. Join me right here, 91.3 FM WBNY. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! We'll provide objective analysis regarding current issues. Call 878-5104. It's Living for the People on 91.3 FM WBNY.
WBNY's The Blitz, as Buffalo as Wings.
Browning looking, pressured, throws it deep, and the ball is caught by T. Higgins at the 1 yard line. And it's actually called a touchdown.
Right there, feels the pressure, throws it up. T. Higgins.
Welcome back to The Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. You guys can listen to us anytime, anywhere on the Radio FX app. If you cannot listen to us on the radio, download the Radio FX app to listen to us anytime, anywhere. So that clip was T. Higgins in his touchdown catch against the Minnesota Vikings from this past season. And the reason I bring up T. Higgins is he is one of multiple players that the Buffalo Bills could potentially target and go after at wide receiver here very shortly with the departure of Stephon Diggs via trade to the Houston Texans. And I just kind of want to get your guys' thoughts and your opinions on what the Bills should do at wide receiver. I'll mention mine here in a little bit, but we'll start here with you, Alex. The Bills, they can sit at pick 28. They can trade up in the draft. They can trade for a guy. What are you thinking they should do here, finding a wide receiver one?
I think you go and be aggressive. To me, I think you go and give up Julio Jones extra trade. Go get into the top 10 and get one of the top 3 receivers. I think Chicago at 9, they're still kind of in a rebuild. They have a lot of holes. I think there's already reports that they're willing to trade out. I think you give up this year's first, next year's first, next year's 4th and maybe a 6th this year. Maybe you have to give up next year's 3rd also. You go get what you need to do. And at 9, I think Romo Dunze falls there. I think there's an interesting stat that I saw the other day. Contested catch rate last year in college football, out of like all the receivers that are projected to go early, Romo Dunze, 75%. So 50-50 balls, when thrown to him, is 75-20. That is absolutely insane. Second best was Brian Thomas Jr. at 54%. The drop there is crazy. He is one of the best contested catch receivers I've ever seen play. Watching him play at Washington was just absolutely insane. But then say that we can't seem to get into the top 10. I also wouldn't hate trading up to like 15 to 17 to get Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is also going to be very good. But I think especially after trading Diggs, you have that second next year. I don't see a scenario where it would make sense to stay at 28 and see who falls to us. I think you go up. I think you get your guy wherever that is. I personally would like to see us make the big move and go get that stud receiver. But I would hate if we stayed at 28 and just took whoever fell to us.
Spike, how about you? I mean, obviously, you are a Jets fan. Don't have the bias being a Bills fan in this conversation, but, you know, taking away the rivalry aspect away, if you were the GM of the Buffalo Bills, what would you do if you were in Brandon Beane's shoes here trying to replace Stephon Diggs' production here in the Buffalo Bills unit?
Honestly, I'm feeling the same route of T. Higgins, maybe Tyler Boyd, just looking for another option to give Josh Allen, because Shakir is a very good young receiver. He was doing his thing last season. 2 amazing tight ends. You're not short on receiving options, but it's just better instead of trying to run the table on just keeping it to what you already know, what you already have, and not going out there grabbing an extra pair of hands to help Josh Allen to continue this run, because, you know, there's always been doubts every single year. Oh, the Bills will make the playoffs. Oh, this year they're cooked. They're fried. They're not going to make it. And then out of nowhere, they win the division. They go 2 rounds in. It's just taking that extra step gets a lot harder without Stephon Diggs there, and needing that extra hand literally on the offensive side of the ball is something that that I would, if I was a GM, 100% be looking to work at urgently, because there's been a lot of defensive departures, and now we're losing what is the current wide receiver 1 for the team, and Gabe Davis also left. I get it. He had a lot of issues. He wasn't playing that great, but there's a lot of holes to be filled, and to try to run the gauntlet again, saying, oh, we've done it once before in the AFC East, it would be a piece of cake. The only team that's gone down is really the Patriots. I mean, they've hit rock bottom. Meanwhile, the Jets have upped their defense somehow from last year. We haven't gone crazy offensively, but revamped the line, new receiver, and the Dolphins,
and Rodgers is back.
Rodgers is back for however long he may. And the Dolphins, again, go out and sign like 97 players that they don't have the money for, and they're going to choke and lose in the first round of the playoffs like they do every single year, no matter what kind of improvement they get. But they're still improved. And it's not that I doubt the Bills. It's just the fear factor has definitely doubled from before, when there was that normality of being able to look at the facts that no matter how many times they find themselves back and down in a season, they end up in the playoffs. And this year, it's just so much more difficult. You have to make an aggressive push, I say, for an already slated receiver that has the talent that the team would need in order to continue their offensive onslaught that they bring to the table.
How about you, Justin? Where are you sitting here? What the Bills should do at wide receiver?
I'm in the ballpark of not trading the bag for a top 10 pick. I do think it'd be electric. I mean, we haven't seen a draft day move like that in a while, but I don't think you need to go get a big time prospect or a big time guy when this is a depthy and loaded wide receiver class. This class is loaded, and you can sit at 28 and you can take a guy who drops like an Xavier Worthy, hook 'em horns, baby. But like guys like that who just are a receiver that's different from what you have now is a huge thing in the league. You can't have multiple of the same guy, and I I think if you do get up to 9, I don't think. I think the biggest guy who's different from what you have right now is Marvin Harrison Jr. And obviously he's not dropping. I do think you have a Malik Neighbors type in Khalil Shakir. Obviously significantly worse than Malik Neighbors are projected to be. I will say that. But they are the same type of receiver. You kind of have a Romo Dunze and Curtis Samuel, and like I said, obviously a little bit worse than Romo Dunze prospect-wise. But we're looking at a huge possibility of a big-time trade-up, and I just think that you can continue in the draft to just see what happens, come down, take whoever's on the board at the wide receiver position, and even then, realistically, you don't have to go wide receiver round 1. I really don't think you do. I think you can take a rotational D lineman. I think you can take a stud safety. I mean, the safety class isn't loaded, but there are a couple good options in the late first round, early second round. But you don't have to go wide receiver round 1. I think you should really invest in that D line and get a great rotational piece at the back end of the first round, because the athletes in this D line class are very respectable. If borderline insane, some of these guys that are coming out are just crazy athletes, and they're good technique guys too. It's not just about being a great athlete anymore. Everybody's a great athlete coming out. But now you have these guys that are great athletes and with good technique, and they're dropping down the board. I do believe you could go up in the top 10 and see who falls to you. But it might be a better idea to just keep your picks and see who comes to you at 28, and then take a wide receiver if there's one you like. If not, wait until round 2 and take somebody on the D line. You can invest in an O-line pick. Realistically, you like
the Bills just signed Lael Collins too yesterday. I mean, if we're talking interior,
no, I mean
they gave him what, $6.5 million?
What is it, a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
Lael Collins is old.
I know. Well, he's a depth player.
Yeah, I mean,
like I feel like I shouldn't talk because we went in Tyrone Smith 33, but the difference is it's Tyrone Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if you're gonna go old, go for like old value. But I understand it for depth. Honestly,
Yeah,
I mean
Lael
it's
Collins,
there to be needed.
He's got a 3-year contract in this league at points in times. Like he's gotten $10 million contracts. He's started games. He's
Line
played
depth
in big
is
games.
nothing to be ashamed of having. It's just if you're gonna go old, try to get a little bit more value. But
There's only
I'm
so
just
much-
like
yeah.
it's really the best way I can describe
It's a
it
fine
for
move.
me is like
It's fine
like,
move.
yeah.
I know it's a good move, but like I said, it's not so you're not pressured to go out there and grab a wide receiver. I don't think, because the options that you do have are everybody else from last year, with the exception of Gabe Davis, who was very inconsistent, and now I got to go deal with it. Thanks for that. And
For 3 years.
And Stephon Diggs, who wasn't even there for the latter half of last year. So I mean, you could go up and do what Alex wants to do. I'd be thrilled with it. Obviously, I'm not a Bills fan. I'm playing devil's advocate here because, like I said, I can. But I do think 28 is a fine spot to pick for either a wide receiver who's dropping, or a D line, or an O line, or even a safety. Like don't sell the bag when there's still things that you need.
And before I cut over to you, Emma, there are still a couple quality wide receivers left in the free agent market.
That brother T. Higgins is available.
Well,
He's not a free
Can't
agent.
afford
Well,
it.
yeah, good point.
He's obviously up for trade, but
Do we get him?
there are a couple guys that are free agents that the Bills would be able to sign potentially to 1-year small veteran minimum-ish type of contracts, and I'm gonna throw their names out.
I know he's nothing without the catch. He's very mid without the catch, but Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is still there. He's still available.
If you bring him in your top 4, mind you, with adding a guy through the draft, and I'm on board with what Alex is mainly saying, try to go get one of those top guys, even if it has to mean giving the house up. I mean, there are still a couple quality receivers, and I'm going to lay them out here. Hunter Renfrow, I'm not on his board with because he is a slot guy, and I like Shakir there. Allen Robinson, Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Gallup, Tyler Boyd, Michael Thomas, MVS, Russell Gage, DJ Chark. They're not the most appealing names. They're not the sexiest names. I mean, OBJ was once upon a time. But they're quality players. And the Bills still need to kind of fill out their wide receiver core. And, I mean, would you rather take a proven veteran or maybe rely on a guy in the 3rd round of the draft?
I think that's where you double dip because as was already alluded to, this draft class is very deep at receiver. So I think after you get one of the top guys, we have a lot of day 3 picks. I think you go and get in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. I think you go and get another receiver to fill it out. And I think at that point, I think you just have to save money because we're only like, especially after the Collins signing, we have like no cap space right now, and we still have to sign all these rookies. I get Trey White's 10 mils coming off in June, but that's basically going towards just signing the rookies. So we can't really afford to go out and sign one of these veteran receivers unless they're willing to play for a league minimum incentive-based deal, which I don't know if these receivers are going to be willing to do that at their age.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up for discussion about what the Bills could do there. And, again, these receivers that are there, what are they up for contract-wise? I mean, I could see the Bills maybe trying to work out something with an MVS or a Russell Gage.
I was going to say, when Russell Gage was with Tampa, it was obviously Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then Trey Palmer. But whenever Russell Gage was thrown in there, he actually did some quality work. So I don't think Russell Gage would be like a bad option for
He's only 28.
league minimum, though.
He's 28. I mean, these are 1-year deals worth $5 million max.
Yeah, of course.
I
mean, you could really just go out and just get like a true burner. Like you could
that
go
would probably be an MVS.
You can go grab MVS. You can go grab Jamal Agnew. I mean, I've been watching that guy for the past few years in Jacksonville. That brother's got some speed to him. And he really all the passes he caught, and he's an electric returner. But all the passes he caught were just Trevor just heaving it down the field, and Jamal Agnew's just there. And he really went under the radar as a guy who's really just like go run in a straight line, and if the ball gets thrown to you, go up and get it, and he does. And it's not a bad pickup. I'm really sad to see him go, honestly.
He's still available.
He's still available, yeah. I mean, Michael Thomas, I mean, he's made out of glass, but he's also...
He had a fine year last year.
I mean, 4 years ago, this was a guy who had, 147 catches or something like that?
Something like that.
The NFL record.
If we're trying to go younger here, people, you got to remember how old these guys are. Michael Thomas is 31 years old. Not to say anything.
Yeah, I mean,
slant boy.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still like good. It's not about like going younger. It's about getting depth, and getting depth does sometimes require you to like go out and get a guy who's older. And let's not all lose track of. I hate Dan. I really do. Let's not all lose track of still the best slot wide receiver available in Tyler Boyd. I hate Dan and his stupid obsession with KJ Osborne. But Tyler Boyd's still out there too. And
KJ's not even on here.
Yeah, because he already got signed. But Tyler Boyd's still available too. And I mean, yeah, he's a slot guy. You got Khalil Shakir. However, he played a little bit outside when Andy Dalton was there, and he wasn't too shabby, he wasn't too bad. He helped the Bills get into the playoffs in 2017. Tyler Boyd's the reason you guys broke your playoff streak.
Yeah.
Always love him for that.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
bring him in, help him be the saving grace again.
Obviously, you're looking at like the free agents that are left out there, or a possible trade package for T. Higgins. But there's a receiver that's not being talked about, I feel like, enough to come out of the draft, and not to be biased, but it's out of UCF, Javon Baker. I think he would be an absolute steal for the Bills. He is an amazing route runner. His ball tracking ability is insane, and I think he put up, I think it was like 52 receptions for like close to 1,200 yards last season. I don't remember how many touchdowns exactly, but that would be a steal out of the draft for me if the Bills were able to go get that.
Yeah, and once again, taking a look here at the Bills roster currently, like a lot of their guys are young at wide receiver. I mean, when we're talking about the lead guys on this team, Curtis Samuel, only 27 years old.
Curtis Samuel's only 27?
Khalil Shakir, he's what? Going in his third year, he's 24. He's not too old. Dalton Kincaid is 22.
Literally his sophomore year.
Dawson Knox, he's 27.
Yeah, Shakir is 24.
I need to see
James
the Bills.
Cook, he's still very young, and I'm talking about pass catchers on this Bills team. Yes,
I need to see the Bills run more dual tight end next year because I swear that guy Dawson Knox, it could be that could be the best tight end duo in the league. It really could be. And if you start running some dual tight ends just to get your other wide receivers open, you can't be mad about it. Because, I mean, either way, you got somebody open because Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are going to go up there and moss somebody if you can't get the guy deep over the middle or deep down the sideline. You've got two absolutely athletic freaks in the tight end department. Go up there and get it, big man. 10 yards down the field.
Yeah, I think you have to blame Ken Dorsey for that one. I think Joe Brady will run a lot more 12 personnel because his offense is relied on the run game and the short passes, which I think for Josh Allen is perfect because defenses have learned he is a gunslinger. He's going to try and chuck it down the field because he has the ability to do it. So they've been playing so soft zone, too high safety. So now we have Brady come in with better run schemes and a lot of these short passes and screens to try and open up those deep passes because it's the same thing with Mahomes and the Chiefs. He's always he's always last in the league or one of the bottom in the league in average depth of target because they have the run game. They have these short passes, and then the defense comes up, and then you have Mahomes to go and make the play and hit that 50-yard bomb. Yeah. And I think with Brady, it's going to work out. I hope it's going to work out the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing here with Buffalo is the two tight end sets. The Bills may have not wanted or may have not known they were going to bring in Dalton Kincaid in the draft last year until he kind of fell to them. And that's what happened. And then now you have the luxury of not only having a tight end that can put up double-digit touchdowns in a season in Dawson Knox, but you have the luxury and the privilege of having a tight end that can be top 5 in the NFL for years to come in Dalton Kincaid. And you pair those two up, and you said, Justin, like you said, they could be the best duo in football. But then Alex, like you said, a lot of that was to blame on Ken Dorsey, why we didn't see the Bills utilize Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid more. Mind you, Knox was out for part of the season with a wrist injury or a hand injury, but there was a lot to be left on the table. There was a lot left on the table with Knox and Kincaid that was not displayed on the field because these two, like you said, Justin, are athletic freaks. They can do things at the tight end position with the ball in their hands after the catch that simply guys cannot do. Travis Kelce and Dalton Kincaid really resemble one another when they have the ball in their hands, the way they run their routes. They're like one of like 2 or 3 tight ends that can do what they do with the special things in their hand, or with the ball in their hands after the catch. And then you have that Dawson Knox. The Bills just did not use that last year, and it's something that needs to be brought more this year because Josh Allen plays really good in 12 personnel. He plays good with 2 tight end sets. You can say his best football may have came under center, more
Play
condensed
action.
Formations, play action.
Yeah, no, I mean absolutely.
2 tight end looks.
Just because it gives you another blocker. I mean, you got that play action run, and you got a guy in James Cook who, in all respects, is a respectable blocking running back. I mean, he's got some great timing on his little chip blocks that he does, and I'm surprised he doesn't get called for him more often. How low he goes on the defender, but he's got really, really good chip blocks, and if you can just knock a guy down for an extra 2 seconds to give the guy with probably the biggest arm in the league an extra 2 seconds, I mean, nasty things are going to happen. And if nothing else, first downs are going to happen. And then, you got the dink and dunk deep ball, and then you still got a running back who had put up almost 1,300 rushing yards last year, and I think almost 1,500 or 1,600 combined yards. Like, You've got great guys there, and to see like the Bills go out and maybe get like another true number one or even a depth pickup and let Curtis Samuel try and get that number one role, which I still think he can do. You can't be mad about a dual tight end set because you can let Dawson Knox run the more like hardcore, this is a tight end route. And then you can if you let Dalton Kincaid do what Travis Kelce does, I don't think Travis Kelce's run a scripted route in 4 years. I think the brother just goes out there and runs to open space. And if you let Dalton Kincaid do that with his speed and his elusiveness at tight end,
yeah, that's scary.
That's pretty intimidating for a defensive core, especially a linebacking core, to try and keep up with the speed of Dalton Kincaid. Like there aren't a lot of linebackers that are catching Dalton Kincaid. There are not a lot of them. And you go out there and let him run in space like a Travis Kelce, and he's faster than Travis Kelce, and you see how open Kelce gets all the time, even though he's the best receiver on that Chiefs team. He just gets open. And Dalton Kincaid could be the best receiver on the Bills team next year and just get open. And it really could happen, even though Josh Allen does have a cannon of an arm. He doesn't have to use it all the time. You don't want what happened to Drew Brees to happen to Josh Allen, because Drew Brees went from being able to throw it 45, 50 yards to being able to throw it 30 yards accurately.
Well, that was just his shoulder just gave out. Same thing with Peyton Manning when it was his neck gave out. Those are like crazy injuries that we just hope doesn't happen to Josh.
Yeah, but if Josh keeps ripping 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards down the field, it's gonna happen to him eventually. Like no shoulder can take that for a very long time.
But no quarterback has been built like Josh.
I mean, he is a stature of a human. I'll give you that. But nobody's invincible. My guy.
And the Bills' offense, if we try to contain the beast that's Josh Allen,
knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on that one.
It doesn't work well when we try to contain the beast that was Josh Allen. That was one of Dorsey's many problems last year, is he just didn't want to run Josh Allen because he was scared of injuring him. Brady comes in and we have more of those quarterback runs, and it really helps open up the offense because when we snap the ball, the defense is so worried about them throwing it, them handing it off to Cook, or Josh running itself. There's so many things, so many moving parts that it's just so hard to keep up.
Well, yeah, high risk, high reward. I mean, that's how a lot of dual threat quarterbacks will work. I mean, that's how dual threat QB systems work. It's high risk, high reward. Yeah, you're putting your quarterback in a lot of duress and under a lot of stress. Like Lamar Jackson is eventually going to turn into glass, but I mean, the Ravens are going to use him like they have been for however long they can, just like the Falcons did to Vic and the Eagles did to Randall Cunningham. I mean, these dual threat quarterbacks. I mean, Josh is definitely going to be one of the exceptions because he is more prone to also being able to throw the ball. But these dual threat quarterbacks eventually do run out of time. They do run out of steam, and they do eventually start getting hit and hit and hit and hit. And Josh isn't one to slide. That guy takes a lot of hits from linebackers. That brother does not slide.
There is one thing though. He is probably, it's either him or Mahomes is the best QB in the league in avoiding sacks. We were the lowest sack team this year, despite our line being only like 10th in pressure rate. He may take the occasional hit when he's running, but he also avoids so many sacks and makes so many plays when he has defenders in his face that he's avoiding those hits there too.
And it's because he has that dual. He has more of a dual threat ability than a guy like Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar Jackson, he can run, but more blitzes get sent at guys like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts than anybody in the league because they are more prone to run than they are to pass. Josh is vice versa. Even though he can run and he does it very, very well, he is more prone to throw the ball, which is a great thing for, one, his health, and two, for your offense, just the way it's structured. I just don't want Joe Brady to start turning Josh Allen's play into more of a Lamar Jackson and then just have blitz after blitz after blitz get sent. Yeah, but, to be determined. I do think he'll be okay.
All right, we are at 3 o'clock here in the studio, so that means we're going to take another break here, and then after, we are going to get into Buffalo Sabres talk as they are back in action tonight at the KeyBank Center, and we're going to talk where they are currently at in the playoff race and everything going on with the Buffalo Sabres hockey. We'll get into some March Madness, and once again, WrestleMania is this Saturday and Sunday. It's all week in Philadelphia. But once again, this is the Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative station since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. Student Activity Fee. We'll be right back in just a few moments after the break.
Hi, I'm Ben Affleck. The only thing better than playing a hero in the movies is being a hero in real life. Like the 50,000 veterans who returned from Iraq and Afghanistan with devastating injuries. They are true heroes, and they're why I'm proud to support Paralyzed Veterans of America. They make sure veterans with spinal cord injuries get the care and support they need at no cost to them. To learn more, visit pva.org. That's pva.org.
A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
La pandemia de COVID-19 ha afectado nuestras vidas. Enfrentamos una pandemia de salud mental que amenaza nuestro bienestar mientras reconstruimos nuestras comunidades.
La pandemia nos ha recordado la centralidad de la familia, la comunidad y nuestros vínculos afectivos. A muchos de nosotros nos ha dejado más aislados, confundidos y luchando por encontrar el sentido ante la pérdida y la incertidumbre.
1 de cada 5 estadounidenses tiene problemas de salud mental, pero muchos no sabemos cómo pedir ayuda.
En la Fundación de la Asociación Americana de Psiquiatría entendemos por lo que está pasando y estamos aquí para ayudarlo. Trabajamos para eliminar el estigma, combatir las enfermedades mentales, los trastornos por consumo de sustancias y construir un país mentalmente sano. Si usted o un ser querido necesita ayuda, no está solo. Visite lasaludmental.org para obtener más información.
Now this one is brutal and wild. You don't know, so stepping out sound a champion sound easy universal. Oh, you miss. Music for yours and mine. Stepping out, giving rub it up all time, yeah.
Yes, Buffalo, once again, you are in tune with the Stepping Out Sound Session. Your host, Universal, here every Sunday night, 5 to 9 p.m., 91.3 WBNY Buffalo.
DJ Universal in the place.
Stepping Out Sound Session, Reggae Radio, every Sunday night, 5 to 9 p.m., 91.3 WBNY Buffalo.
Con el paso de los años, quizás le recetaron opioides después de su cesárea o después de la lesión en la espalda de un familiar. Usted aún los tiene en su hogar, por si acaso. Pero quedarse con los opioides que sobraron pone a su familia en peligro. Los problemas con los opioides pueden comenzar en casa con los medicamentos no utilizados, como pastillas, parches y jarabes. Aprenda a cómo eliminar el riesgo en www.fda.gov/deshacerse de medicamentos.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
One day, I'll teach chemistry to kids.
I'm going to be an architect.
My dream is to be a chef.
This is a world of possibilities. A world in which people who put their minds to something can really make a difference.
My goal is to help the environment.
Someday I'll find a cure for cancer.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we believe that aspiring minds can achieve anything. So we dedicate ourselves to making sure everyone has an opportunity to go to college. Each year, we provide more than $150 billion.
We'll be coming back on in a moment.
Study funds, making higher education possible for anyone at any stage of life.
I can go back to college.
I can change careers.
I can make a difference.
Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Don't live in Buffalo but want to listen to WBNY? No problem. Download the Radio FX app and listen to us anytime, anywhere. The Blitz, talking peace, living for the people, democracy now, and much more here on 91.3 FM WBNY.
Tage Thompson striding it after, along with J.J. Paterka. And then Owen Power back at the point with Rasmus Dahlin. His ball from Marino will get New Jersey outside the line. And the Sabres looking to take it back again. Tage Thompson does that with a shot, scores! Right back in it. 28 seconds into the period. Tage Thompson's got Buffalo on the board.
Welcome back to the Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative station since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. My name is Evan Harrington. I will be the host for Hour 2 here, as long as Hour 1, as you guys are tuning in from Hour 1 to Hour 2 here. We are still in Studio A with Frank the Tank Lopez, Emma Nosby, Justin Bachman. Don't know where Spike went. Maybe he turned into John Cena. Can't see him. And then we have first-time guest on the show, Alex Miley. So we just heard the intro of Tage Thompson in his 4-goal game against the New Jersey Devils the other day in the Sabres win. The Sabres are back in action tonight at home against the Philadelphia Flyers. This is another big matchup for them as the Buffalo Sabres currently sit 6 points out of a playoff spot. They have 6 games to go. The teams ahead of them are the Islanders, Washington Capitals, Detroit Red Wings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sabres have a current record of 36-35-5. We're down here to the final 6 games, guys. This is it. The Sabres have been up and down all season long. Alex, start with you here. What are your thoughts and kind of the preview going into today's game against the Flyers?
I mean, obviously, the season's been a little disappointing, but they still have a slight shot, and it really comes down to tonight. If they win tonight, they can keep themselves alive because they do have the tiebreaker over most of these teams, as they have 30 regulation wins. All the other teams, besides Pittsburgh, who also has 30, are in the 20s. So if we do end up tied with these teams, we will make it. A lot of these teams also have tough schedules, just like us coming up. So yeah, this is a big game. But even if we win, it's still not likely we make the playoffs. But if we lose, it's basically season over, 100% done. I expect them to come out and get the win tonight against a goaltender making his first ever start, and Ivan, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Yeah, and UPL in net, even though he hasn't played well recently, I expect him to come out with some energy with their season on the line, even though they've been extremely inconsistent lately. A couple nights off at home. I expect them in front of hopefully a good crowd to come away with the win.
How about anyone else, Justin?
Yeah, I mean it is a true win out or you're out situation going into these final 6 games, and I'm gonna go out and say it. This last month of Sabres hockey has been the most entertaining of the entire season, and it's getting to the point where it's starting to get electric. And I knew coming out of the trade deadline and after, I mean, you sent away your number 1 goal scorer, and then you bring in Bo Byram, and that brother, that guy's been a pickup for you. And if he continues on this, I mean, he's scoring goals left and right. If he continues to do what he's been doing, and you guys just can't give up the big games to the bad teams anymore. That loss to Ottawa, what was it, a week ago? Your 8-3 loss to Ottawa was probably, if you don't make it, that's probably the game that people are going to look back on. It's like that right there, we couldn't have lost that game. And we'll see when push comes to shove after these 6 games if you really, truly could not have lost that game. But win and you're in, and good luck to the Sabres, man. I don't know a lot about hockey, but I'm gonna be here for it because Buffalo is getting rowdy.
Yeah, and the Flyers are winless in their last 5. They are 0-3-2 and have posted a 2-5-3 record in their last 10. And currently taking a look at the NHL standings in the playoff race in the Metropolitan Division, they are currently sitting in the 3 spot with 83 points, but also tied with them, like we mentioned, are the New York Islanders, also with 83 points. And this is a team in Philadelphia that you win a couple more games in your last 10, and you're kind of looking a little more safer than you already were. But if the Sabres beat the Flyers tonight, the teams like Washington, Detroit, Pittsburgh, New York, us even, are in a much better spot, and the Flyers could be out of a playoff spot by the end of the night. You don't know. You never know, and that could be courtesy of the Sabres. And honestly, at this point in time, if the Buffalo Sabres aren't going to make the playoffs,
you want to ruin as many lives as possible.
Ruin as many lives as possible. Ruin as many teams' hope as trying to get the Stanley Cup as possible. I mean, just because, if we can't have it, nobody else can.
Yeah. It's feeling a little bit reminiscent of last season, just a little bit. Just now, I feel like the stakes are even higher, like a week or two before, because now it's basically win. You have to just win out. I thought Luukkonen has looked pretty okay. I feel like he kind of took a step back or two in the past few games. But JJ Peterka's looking fantastic. I think he's on a good little point streak right now. Tuck got a goal in. Tage is looking all right. He's still not the same Tage as last season, but I feel like he's finally stepping back into the form that we know.
He's been better the last 10 to 12 games.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I like your point where it's, if we're not making it, let's break some hearts. I'm just sitting here pretty. I got to decide if I want to face either Tampa or Toronto. That's all I got to worry about. But I think, and you guys have a pretty easy schedule. I would say the last two are pretty difficult with Tampa, and then you go down that Sunrise, and you have to face the Florida Panthers for the last game of the season. But it's gonna be another interesting 2 weeks left of the season for the Sabres. And listen, I'm not saying the hope's creeping in for anyone, but never say never for these Buffalo Sabres so far.
Never say never, indeed. I mean, Alex, talk to you a little bit about the Sabres here. Currently, what are your thoughts with the Sabres at the end of the season, and just where are they at currently right now?
I think the Sabres are a new coach and a superstar away from being legit Stanley Cup contenders. I love Tage Thompson, but he is not a number one center on a Stanley Cup contender team. He is a great number 2 if we could keep him as a number 2. But I think this offseason you got to hope that superstar wants out and we go and give up the bag, because we have the assets that we don't have the place for. We have Kulich, Savoy, Rusak, Oslin, and others, and we only have like 1 or 2 spots to put all them, and we still have all of our draft picks. We have to go and start making some moves this offseason. I love playing Peterka on this first line. Him, Thompson, and Tuck together have been electric the last couple weeks. Our D-core is fine. Power, Byram, and Dahlin for the next 10 years is going to be insane. Our goal, UPL and Levi are going to be insane for the next 10 years. But I don't like the changes Granato made last offseason. I think he really stunted the growth of this team some. Obviously, the star players haven't stepped up. That's also some of the problem. But I think as a team as young as they were last year, to be 1 point shy of the playoffs, getting over 90 points, and then this year probably not even getting 85 unless they went out. I think you got to put that on Granato, and I think he's got to be gone. I think you got to try and look for a young, offensive, innovative coach. I'm not sure who that is, but I think our team is very offensively skilled, and we have some great defenders. Obviously, we could have potentially one of the best goaltending duos in the league. So I think you go and get someone who can really capitalize this offense to kickstart this team to how it was last year.
You would get along with Dan Dale. Because Dan Dale is pro get rid of Granado.
Yeah.
And he's been on that train.
You know what, Evan? Put me in that train too.
I've been on that train since November.
Let me put
He's been on that. No, Dan's been on that train since he's got here. Dan is never like Granado.
Let me hop on that train too at this point, because this team is so hella inconsistent. Like, where has this all been this entire season? And I'm just like, I'm so sick of it. Like, I know I'm not a hockey girl, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. I want to see at least like some consistency. Like, if you want to be consistent, like at least be crappy all the time, or really good all the time, or really mid all the time. Like, don't do all this like emotional roller coaster thing or whatever.
35-5.
But it's the fact that they go out and win an electric game like the Devil against the Devils on Friday, and then we followed it up with a 3-0 dud against the Maple Leafs the next night.
And then put up 6-2 on the Capitals.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, it's just so inconsistent, and I'm just really sick of it, honestly. And at this point, if we're going to get over the hump, like, Terry, we know that you just wanted to get in to get the Bills. That's why you got the Sabres.
Sell the team, Terry, please.
Literally. Like, bro, like, just do something. Like, I'm just, like, so sick of it at this point. It's just really annoying.
Yeah, it's really annoying for my parlays. Can never tell when you guys are going to win and lose. Make up your damn minds.
Nah, for real, for real.
Every other game.
I know what I must do now.
You know, so after they release an episode of Between Two Stalls, they're going to win.
Have they done that?
Yeah, they did for the Jeff Skinner 1000th game, and they beat the living crap out of them.
It was a very fun game.
Man, again, speaking of that Peterka,
No way.
Thompson, in tuck line, they were all over the ice.
Yeah,
that game.
They were fantastic that game.
Man, more of it was Tuck and Peterka all over the ice, but Thompson did find himself with a 3-point night, and there's actually a stat they have combined for 26 points in the last 6 games.
That is
since
insane.
Becoming a line together on March 21st against Edmonton. 26 points.
Yeah, I think Peterka absolutely will be the star for the Sabres in the next few seasons.
Yeah, he's only 22 years old too, so he's not even hit his prime yet.
Exactly.
He's still got probably a couple more years till he's going to be hitting his prime. The fact that he was a second-round pick, so he wasn't super highly touted, and then every year he's just gotten remarkably better and better and better. The sky is the limit for him. And yeah, that's another gripe against Granado. Why did it take him that long to put Peterka? He's been our leading goal scorer all year, but it took him that long to put him with Thompson and Tuck. It just didn't make any sense. They were sticking him on the third and fourth line before they tried him out on the first line. I don't get it.
Yeah, so we're gonna move over now to a little bit of March Madness talk. I want to give you guys. I want to give you guys about.
Please let me cook.
I'm awake.
I'm gonna step away for a few minutes, and I'm gonna let you guys dive into the March Madness talk.
Tonight is all about the ladies. Like, okay, ladies, now let's get information. It is the women's Final Four. So let's talk about women's. I think really I want everybody to just go around the room, and actually, you know what? Because the championship game is gonna be on Sunday, let's do our who's gonna win for the Final Fours for women's, and then who's gonna win the championship, and do like your own little bracket thing. Let me pull up the teams for everybody so they can be reminded of who is in the Final Four. And no, it's not LSU.
Caitlin Clark put an end to that.
Real quick. Shut that entire team up.
So, first game tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We got number 3 seeded NC State versus number 1 seeded South Carolina. And then 9:30, and then immediately after that, at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, we got number 3 seeded UConn versus number 1 Iowa. So, let's just go around the room and say who you think we're going to win for game 1 and game 2. And then, actually, wait. How am I going to do this? Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to pick your 2 winners, and then you're going to say who you think is going to win the whole thing based on your 2 winners. Let's start with you, Justin.
Oh, don't let me cook. Don't let me cook. All right. So, NC State versus South Carolina. What a matchup. I don't know what's going on with NC State in general, but these basketball teams, NC State men's basketball and NC State women's basketball are cooking. Unbelievably just chefing up everybody that they go up against. I do think one of them falls this weekend. I do not think it is the women's team. I think I'm going to take NC State over South Carolina. South Carolina's last game, that second quarter was bumpy. It was rough. And if they go out and have one bad quarter, a bad half a quarter against this NC State team who's just been consistently putting the ball in the bucket, it's going to be a real bad day to be a South Carolina Gamecock. I'm taking NC State over South Carolina, and I would be remiss if I didn't take my girl Caitlin Clark to beat everybody. She's beaten everybody. It's been revenge since round 1, and it was even more revengeful last week. Finally getting it back, doing the ring celebration right back to LSU, shutting a lot of mouths. I've got Iowa over UConn. I've got NC State over South Carolina, and I got Iowa over NC State, and I don't think it's going to be close. Give Caitlin Clark the ring.
Yes, I definitely agree that is going to be the same thing. I totally agree with you, Justin, 100%, so I'll give you my bracket, even though he literally said the exact same thing. I'm going to say NC State over South Carolina, and then Iowa over UConn, and then Iowa's going to take the whole thing, and Caitlin Clark is going to go number 1, and then she's going to go train for Paris, because she did say she's going to be on the Olympics team. Yeah, and everyone's doing the ring. Ayo! All right, Spike, what you got?
As someone who temporarily had a bracket in the top 25,000 out of 22.5 million people using the ESPN app.
For women's?
Well, for the men's.
No, we're talking about women's here.
No, I'm just saying, with the knowledge that I possess to be able to get that far.
I want to go home.
I'm going to go with, and this is going to take a lot of expertise here because I'm just so toted and talented in college basketball. I'm going to go with South Carolina because, oh boy, is that a really funny basketball name for all of their sports teams. So Go Cox, that is their name. That's why I'm picking them. I've not watched a single second of either of those teams put the ball in the hoop. But golly, if anyone's going to do it most, it better be the Gamecocks because that is going to be hilarious. Iowa over UConn. This is the only time anyone will ever see an Iowa offense do anything ever. So, gonna obviously be taking Iowa to the chip. And as funny as saying the Gamecocks has won it all, Caitlin Clark is not going down in a championship game. Because trust and believe me, I may not have much knowledge, but I know that woman balls. She's going to get drafted number 1 overall by the Detroit Pistons, and they're going to go to the NBA Finals.
Period. Alex.
All right, so I may be a little biased as I do have a women's bracket, and I got 3 out of the 4 Final Four correct.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I got South Carolina beating NC State. They haven't lost all year. I don't see that happening against NC State. And then Iowa beating UConn, and I think it's going to be the game of the tournament. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Buchers. I am so excited to watch that. I will not be missing a second of that game. That is going to be electric, but Caitlin Clark is just too much. It doesn't matter. She can pull up from the logo. She can drive past you. She can kick it out to her teammate. She can even play some defense. Against LSU, she had some amazing steals, a couple of blocks. She was all over the court. It didn't matter because she's on a revenge tour. She wanted to go to UConn. UConn didn't want her. She's got that personal vendetta, so she's not losing this game. And then and then in the finals, Iowa versus South Carolina. Once again, as everyone else has predicted, I'm not betting against Caitlin Clark. She is nuts. She's the greatest women's basketball player I've ever seen. She's the greatest college basketball player, honestly, ever. She has the NCAA scoring record, the women's assist record. She has just been absolutely dominant, and I think she continues that on her Storybrooke run, revenge from last year. She already got that against LSU. I see them winning it all, and 2 electric games. I'm not going to be missing her play the rest of the tournament.
All of these are going to be on ESPN, by the way, for those of you who are curious on where to watch said games. Frankie the Tanky.
Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again.
Franklin the Turtle.
What you got, brother?
South Carolina and Iowa. I have Iowa going over, but I will most likely probably not be watching the game on Sunday.
Why is that?
I have way more important
Oh,
things going on.
sugars. Yeah, you're right. You got a point. I'm so sorry.
The story.
The story.
Oh
That's
my
all I
God. I'm
care
so
about.
sorry. Guys, all right. Evan, what say you? Women's. Who's going to win their games for the Final Four? We got NC State and South Carolina and UConn and Iowa.
I'll take South Carolina.
Evan, you might want to turn on your mic.
Your mic's
brother.
not on, but
Give me South Carolina in the first one, and then Iowa. I mean, Caitlin Clark's going for 37, 8, and 5.
And then who you got winning the ship?
Iowa.
Okay, so we're
It's
all in
Caitlin
agreement
Clark.
that Iowa's going to win the whole thing.
It's Caitlin Clark.
It may be.
It's not Iowa winning it all. It's Caitlin Clark winning it all.
Guys, it's a team effort.
Caitlin Clark is about to have.
She had 27 shots against LSU.
And she wasn't missing either.
No.
She tied an NCAA record for women's for threes made in a game. And they weren't just your average three. She was pulling up from practically the logo right in Haley Van Lift's face. She could not guard her. She was getting absolutely cooked.
She pulls up from the hip like an 1800s western, like straight from the hip. Pull that up, and bang! It's in. She's gonna have a 100-point game in the finals. She's gonna beat Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain, who?
Straight from the hip, as Mike Breen would say, bang! Bang!
Bang!
Bang! What a shot from Clark! Bang!
So, of course, we got the Final Four for women's tonight, and then their championship is going to be sometime on Sunday night to be determined. Let's go to men's, even though it's been hella mid. Sorry, but I'm just saying. There hasn't been a lot of gaggery in terms of upsets, and the upsets were more of like a given. So it's so annoying. But
DJ Burns. That's the upset.
that's so annoying. Anyway, so men's Final Four is gonna start tomorrow, Saturday night. First game's gonna tip off. It says 6:09 p.m. I don't understand why we always have to wait like that extra 9 minutes. But it's gonna be NC State 11 seed over number 1 Purdue, and then immediately after that at 8:49 is gonna be 4 seeded Alabama versus 1 seeded UConn. I hate to be this person because I've been on the whole UConn's not gonna win it again deal. But UConn and the way that they have been scoring and the big gap between the scores is just crazy to me. And you see this weekly. This is consistent. This is the consistency I want to see. Not this up and down stuff like the Buffalo Sabres. Anyway. Give me UConn over Alabama. And that has nothing to do with my personal vendetta against the dark side, aka Alabama. And then honestly, as much as I am a Penn State fan and I want to see all the Big Ten schools go down, Zach Edey winning his 2nd Player of the Year and having his best game of his career against, was it Duke? No, not Duke.
Tennessee.
40 points in a game. It's pretty wild to me. And I think that this is only going to be the chance of him just going up even more. So give me Purdue over NC State. As much as I love the NC State run, like Justin said, one of the teams is going to go down, and it's not going to be the women's. Damn it, I hate I'm going to be saying this. Sorry to everyone and calling me a hypocrite, but give me UConn to win the entire thing once again. I feel so ashamed to say that. Justin, take the mic away from me.
Here's what we got a couple minutes here. We're gonna take a break, but
All right, let me cook.
let him cook.
Bama is not a basketball school, not yet. Not yet.
Period.
Give me UConn. But the reason I said one of these teams is gonna fall, it's not gonna be the women. It's gonna be that men's team. Unfortunately, I think Zach Edey's just gonna eat him alive. And I know that DJ has been cooking. And I'm gonna give the man his flowers. He's coming to his own during this tournament, but that guy's Zach Edey, man. That guy's just a fantastic basketball player. And I don't see the men's team getting over the hump. I will give it to Purdue versus UConn. And contrary to Emma, I'm taking Purdue. And I'm taking Purdue just because of what they can do in the paint. In the paint, Purdue is just an electric team. They're an electric team in the paint, and they get things done. Give me Purdue to win it all over UConn.
I respect it. Spike the splunk.
As a man who had a bracket in the top 25,000
shut up.
out of
We get it.
22.5
We
million
get it.
from the ESPN app
get
for
it.
a while. Me not watching 5 minutes of either of these teams play. I'm going with Purdue. Zach Edey. I'm going to use my same logic as the Gamecocks. Funny name. Next one, UConn, Alabama. I simply am a firm believer and lover in watching someone else win a chip. But that's not going to be the case here. UConn's going to be going
Thank God. I was going to punch you in the
to
face.
the championship. And when it comes to the finals, it's going to be Purdue. Purdue can do while Zach Edey chews through the defense. Purdue's going to be winning it all.
Spit that bars, brother. The boo. Alex.
Yeah, unlike my women's bracket, my men's bracket is absolutely cooked. I did not get a single Final Four correct.
Houston, we still love you.
Yeah, Jamal Shetty getting injured and Houston losing really screwed me. And so I really don't have too much interest in who wins. But I guess I'm just going to I'm going to go chalk here. Both 1 seeds, Purdue and UConn, have been absolutely dominant. UConn has 5 players that could all make the NBA, and then Purdue is being carried by Zach Free Throw Merchant Edey. And I think it's just going to be too much to handle. I'm going to go with Purdue to win it all. I hate UConn. I have my own personal bias against them, but I don't care.
2014 Florida Gators.
Yes. As a Gators fan, they upset Florida in the Final Four in 2014. Broke my little heart. So, yeah, I will never pick UConn to win a national championship ever. Screw UConn. Purdue's winning it all. Yeah.
All right, boys in A.
Break.
I'm turning my back on everything I know. Alabama's winning it all.
Gross.
No
way. Gross.
Ew.
Let's go, Bama. Bama's a basketball school.
Roll Tide, baby. All about the Tide.
Okay, so who's going to win NC State and Purdue?
NC, I don't really care.
Purdue.
You got it. You got to pick one, bro.
NC State.
Whoa.
All I know is
I would
Alabama's
love to
winning
see
it
that
all.
happen.
Yeah, I would love to see it too, but Zach Edey.
Love to see the DJ Burns run continue, but Edey's just too much for him, I think.
All right,
Let's go, Bama.
Evan. Really?
Yep, Alabama.
And there is a reason why they're in that studio and the cool kids are in Studio B.
There's a reason we're.
And your pod, yeah, you're muted. You're muted. We're about to go to break here. And after the break, we'll be covering WrestleMania 40 predictions for the last 20-ish minutes of the show. Once again, this is WBNY, The Blitz. We will see you guys in just a few moments after the break.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
91.3 FM WBNY is proud to present Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman.
Welcome to Democracy Now!
Award-winning investigative journalism.
Is the NRA imploding?
Providing relevant analysis that makes you think.
Secret State Department documents, including evidence of U.S. war crimes.
Fact-finding reports you will not hear elsewhere. Democracy Now! Airs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo. Ready for radio that's challenging, innovative, and encouraging? Tune in, Living for the People.
This is L. Nathan Hare. Join me right here, 91.3 FM WBNY. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! We'll provide objective analysis regarding current issues. Call 878-5104. It's Living for the People on 91.3 FM WBNY.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Welcome back to the Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY. My name is Evan Harrington. I'll be the host for the next 22 minutes and counting here. We are back, and for the final segment of today's show, it's been WrestleMania week, and it's approaching to be WrestleMania 40 weekend. You hear it right. That's Kingdom, Cody Rhodes' theme song. We all wode together, and now we're here back. And we're going to give you guys our predictions for WrestleMania 40, as Saturday and Sunday will be night 1 and night 2 in Philadelphia. WrestleMania is back.
Yes.
It's the greatest time of the year.
Yes.
It's the greatest time of the year.
The best time to be a wrestling fan. We normally don't talk too much WWE here, but
it's WrestleMania.
It's
WrestleMania. We'll give it the time it deserves here. It's all over my feed right now on ESPN.
Pat McAfee shows at WWE World.
Everywhere.
Hey, wait, Frank. I forgot to ask you. Did you see the Cody Rhodes interview on Pat McAfee?
Of course, I saw the interview of Cody freaking Rhodes. The American Nightmare.
The American Nightmare. Oh my goodness. Let's go through this card.
We gotta go through the card. I
got the card.
I got it pulled up. We're gonna go through the night 1 to night 2, and I'm gonna go from the least important matches
until the main event
to the top to the main event.
You better start with this very weird Philadelphia street fight match.
No,
that's night 2. That's night 2. What are you doing?
We're starting night 1. Okay.
So night 1, it's gonna be a 6-woman tag team match between Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control, which is going to be
Dakota Kai,
Asuka,
and Kairi Sane. So Jade Cargill making her in-ring debut outside of the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And you got Bianca Belair and Naomi. Naomi's first WrestleMania since returning from TNA.
Yep.
Bianca Belair in this match as well, against the Kabuki Warriors and
Dakota Kai.
Yep.
And Damage Control.
My God.
What are we thinking of this one?
If the titles were on the line, it would be Damage Control. And as much as I would love to see Asuka finally win at WrestleMania, because she has yet to do it.
No, she didn't do it last year.
I'm gonna go with Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. I really think this is just a way to get Bianca Belair on the card for all the hard work she's done this year. And I don't see them giving her any sort of loss here, especially for Jade Cargill's debut and Naomi's WrestleMania debut since coming back. They're not gonna flounder any great feelings, and for the good guys. So give me the random put together squad over Damage Control.
You want my reasoning? Jade Cargill. That's my reason.
Yeah.
Just her in itself is the reason why they win at WrestleMania.
I'm going to take the team of Bianca, Jade, and Naomi as well. I don't think they're going to put, these 3 stars together for no reason.
Especially Jade on her debut night at WrestleMania.
They're going to have them win. Plus, Bianca's still undefeated at WrestleMania, so I think they're going to keep that little streak going. Anyone else got predictions? All right. So we will
moving on.
Wrestling!
To Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. again, another match that was just kind of thrown together. There's a little bit of a storyline between both teams, but Rey Mysterio brought in Dragon Lee on last Friday Night SmackDown, and obviously Santos and Dom has joined forces. I'm going to go with Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee here. I think they're going to do something, but I don't know. I can also see Carlito costing Rey and Dragon Lee the match.
I do think this is a Carlito. I do think this is a Carlito heel turn. I'm gonna go with Dirty Dom and Santos. And as much as I love Dragon Lee, because Dragon Lee in NXT, oh my goodness,
cooked.
Oh my goodness. But unfortunately, he will lose his WrestleMania debut, mainly because Rey Mysterio doesn't need this win. Nobody really knows who Dragon Lee is unless you watch NXT. He doesn't really need this win. And I do think this is just a free spot for a Carlito heel turn. Give me Dirty Dom and Santos.
Yeah, as a kid, Carlito was one of my guys. So to not see him picked for this match, I really hope it means that Carlito turns heel and gives Dominic, the best wrestler in the world, Mysterio, a win at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my opinion. Actually, I'm gonna go with Dominic and
he's
I'm gonna go with Dominic
riding the
and
hot
Santos.
hand.
Yeah, just because of Carlito, I was thinking about it. That's what I'm gonna go with. Now, here's a match I'm really excited for: the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
6-pack tag team ladder match with the Judgment Day as the champions, the Awesome Truth versus the New Day versus DIY versus New Catch Republic and versus A-Town Down Under. Under.
Yeah, this for me is just a very easy way for them to separate the tag team titles.
And that's what they're saying they're going to do. The match won't be over until you can grab both titles.
And they've been saying that one too many times for them to not separate the titles at this point. So I'm going to predict 2 winners. I'm going to go with the Awesome Truth, just because that storyline that they're building over there is way, way, way too good. So give me R-Truth and The Miz. And then it's a bit of a hot take. I'm going to go with A-Town Down Under to win the SmackDown titles. I would love it if it was the New Catch Republic, just because Tyler Bates probably been the best thing on SmackDown over the last few weeks. But I just think that they can do a lot more with the characters of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller more than they can do with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. So give me the Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under.
What do you got, Frank?
For SmackDown, I definitely have A-Town Down Under. Absolutely. But for Raw, it's my little indie wrestling heart that I want to go with DIY over Awesome Truth.
You have to. I mean, you got to want to.
I've been a Johnny Wrestling guy since probably 2015, 2016. I have like 3 of his shirts. I love Johnny Gargano. And for that reason, I want to see him have his own WrestleMania moment with Ciampa. So I'm going to go DIY and A-Town Down Under.
I'm going to say that the Judgment Day are going to lose these titles, and I have actually a prediction for later on that has to deal with it.
I think I know.
But I have the Awesome
I got an idea.
The Awesome Truth winning the Raw titles, and then A-Town Down Under is going to win the SmackDown titles. I just think that's the most fair thing.
Yeah.
At the moment, Awesome Truth for the pop, but I think WWE needs more heels on SmackDown outside of Roman and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
So I think that having a heel tag team would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And they're both good in the ring, great performers, and and I think those two deserve something. I think they've done a lot of good work on the main roster recently.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, Austin Theory hasn't really gotten much since his U.S. title reign, and
since that Cena match.
And Grayson Waller is just so underrated.
I think he's been good.
That guy's so good in the ring.
Yeah,
he's got a terrible finisher, but everything else is so good.
Yeah. Next, the brothers match, the blood match.
Oh.
Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Yeet versus no Yeet.
How you gonna do this to me?
Man, it's tragic to say, but give me Jimmy. Give me Jimmy. And the reason I say it is for a prediction that I have going later on. But I do think it's gonna be a lot of the bloodline winning until a very specific moment in the card. But I'm gonna go with Jimmy over Jay and I think they're gonna ride this story into SummerSlam, and then they're gonna have another match at SummerSlam, and then Jay's gonna absolutely destroy Jimmy. But give me Jimmy on some antics, maybe Solo runs in or whatever happens. But yeah, give me Jimmy.
I'm gonna go Jay just because I know they see him probably more as that single superstar than they do Jimmy. And I mean, Jay's kind of gotten beat up, the past few weeks, especially against his own cousin, The Rock.
Indeed.
Just whooping him all over. So I think I think Jay comes out over Jimmy, and possibly a Solo interference comes into play. I could see that happening, but no, I have Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick Jay Uso as well.
I'll be the odd man out.
He's just too over with the fans for him to lose.
Yeah,
He's
I know. He is
too over.
He is incredible.
I was just at a house show on Sunday in Syracuse.
Mhm.
Second biggest pop. First was Bianca. Third was Cody. Jay, just I was at Payback. And
Yeah.
when he got debuted to Raw, or announced by Cody on the Grayson Waller effect, like, dude, he's just so over with the fans.
He is so over, but that means I think he can just take the loss more than Jimmy.
But he's been taking too many losses.
Like if Jimmy loses here, then they're just writing him off as a single star. They're just writing him off completely, and I don't think they're going to do that to him.
Really?
I really don't think so. I think there's a lot of potential there for Jimmy to be a great heel as a single star, and that's why I have them having another match at SummerSlam. But like I said, push comes to shove, give me Jimmy. But
sorry.
Go ahead.
Next match for the IC title. Start firing through these a little bit. We got about 10 minutes left. Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the IC title.
Should have been Chad Gable. I mean, I love Sami Zayn. The indie heart, I love him. I really do. But it should have been Chad Gable, and for that reason, I do think
I'm out.
I mean, I'm out. I really don't care about this match. I just think this is going to be another Gunther win. The ring general will annihilate Sami Zayn. Should have been Chad.
I agree. Should have been Chad. So for that exact reason, I'm going Gunther. I know we got to start picking this up.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Gunther too. I could see something on the Raw after WrestleMania. Maybe Chad Gable turns heel.
I would hate it.
Which would be crazy.
But the crowd's so behind him.
But that's the thing. But that's the thing. They want to see him win so bad.
Well, they wouldn't do heel versus heel though. They're not gonna do.
No.
They're not gonna turn Chad heel and then have him go after the IC title because Gunther is a heel. So they're not gonna do that.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's gonna be fun. The Raw after Mania is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. So I'm gonna take Gunther in this one. I just don't see Sammy winning.
Yep.
He'll put up a good fight though. It'll be one of the matches of the night.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Women's World Championship match: Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. A lot of people thought Liv Morgan should have been added in this for a triple threat, but no, here we are, just 1-on-1.
No.
What do you got?
I'm out of that train. I mean, I love Liv Morgan, I really do, but she definitely should not have been added to this. They've been building this match forever. They've been hiding Becky from Rhea for so long, and I think it's going to be all for naught. I do think Rhea Ripley will be the only member of the Judgment Day coming out of Mania with a title. So give me Rhea Ripley over Becky Lynch.
Yeah, no, it's Rhea Ripley all the way. I love Becky, but
there's just too much potential with Rhea.
The way Rhea's been handling everything, she's a star, and I think you already know Becky's the star, and you want to keep building Rhea Ripley. So I think Rhea's got to win the title or retain the title.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley over Becky Lynch. I do think there's a small chance Becky Lynch could win, but they are riding the Rhea Ripley world title reign right now, and I still think there's a lot of good fights that she can have.
Yeah.
Against Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley would
kill
Charlotte
numbers.
Flair
It would still comes back. She still can do Liv Morgan. They can still continue the feud with Becky Lynch. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she should probably take a little time off after WrestleMania, but you never know. Main event night one.
Oh yes.
Probably the greatest build up to a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Which is upsetting because I mean it really kind of took away from Cody Roman, but
it's Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the final boss, and Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. in a tag match. And if Roman and The Rock win, it's bloodline rules in night 2, Roman versus Cody.
And that is why Roman and The Rock will win. They've been doing way too much build up for bloodline rules. It's gonna be bloodline rules. Yeah, no, it's gonna be The Rock and Roman Reigns. And I do think, contrary to popular belief, I think Cody takes the pin. I do think Cody takes the pin on night 1, just to really build everything up against him before night 2. So give me The Rock and Roman, and a bonus pick, give me Cody Rhodes to take the pin.
Oh my! I mean, I agree. Just because the stipulation of being bloodline rules the next night, which we'll obviously get into the next main event that we'll talk about. So yeah, I'm gonna go Rock Roman, but I see them having Seth do double duty on the pins, and I see them just completely taking out Cody, and then them just attacking Seth to pin him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it definitely could happen. Like I said, it's a bit of a wild prediction, but
let's go Rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna have The Rock and Roman winning this one. I think they're gonna beat the ever-living crap out of Seth Rollins. I think Rollins is gonna get manhandled this match. I really do, because I think it's gonna set up for him in his night 2 match against Drew. I think Cody is gonna get beat up as well, but they're gonna show that like perseverance of Cody, like trying to build him up as like kind of like that next like big baby face.
Yeah.
But again, he's gonna take the pin. I think he's gonna take the pin.
Seth or Cody?
Cody's taking the pin.
See?
I think Cody takes the pin. I think WWE is stacking all their cards, and they're throwing everything against the wall with Cody like getting beat up, and and having to like persevere to like be the guy.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like some like Super Cena stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have that along with your guys' stuff as well. Night 2. What a stack card.
What a card.
Well, except for one.
Yeah, there is one.
6-man tag Philadelphia street fight. Bobby Lashley and Street Profits versus Final Testament. Whatever.
This
It'll
is
be fun though. It'll be fun.
This is just a way to get Bobby Lashley on the card. Give me the pride, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
Yeah, same exact thing. I love the Street Profits. I love Bobby Lashley. I think Karrion Kross is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. Also, Authors of Pain is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
How do they get on the card and not Ricochet?
That's what I don't know. Especially Ricochet's been cooking the past 2 months.
Ricochet had a great match on SmackDown.
So I'm just like, all right, whatever. So that's why I don't care.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna take Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
Really, like
those three guys should be on almost every single pay-per-view, every single SmackDown. Those guys are legit.
Yeah, Street Profits should be in the tag team title picture.
Final Testament.
They're boring. They're awful.
Hey, talk about a great feud that's been built up.
Hey,
they attacked each other today. LA Knight versus AJ Styles.
Oh my goodness!
This
is probably the best storyline going into Mania, other than the Bloodline stuff.
I agree.
This is so naturally built. This is Triple H versus Randy Orton. When they had their blow off at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
granted it was garbage. It was a garbage match. This match, I see this match going up in flames.
Yeah.
But AJ Styles is a Hall of Famer. AJ Styles doesn't need this win. Give me LA Knight.
Yeah. And that is the exact same reason. Everyone loves AJ, no matter what. Yeah, do we think he can be booked better? Absolutely. You just give him a world title reign before he retires. That's all we need.
Yep.
But you know how much money LA Knight can make you for being the top merch seller for basically 6 months in a row. That pop is still loud for him. It's LA Knight, and he's at WrestleMania is gonna be electric.
I'm gonna take LA Knight in this one as well. He's due for his big win. He's due for his big win. He couldn't get his big win against Roman at the Rumble and at Crown Jewel. It just wasn't feasible.
Yeah, no,
he
it wasn't.
Couldn't.
Obviously wasn't gonna win the Elimination Chamber. Or no, he wasn't in the Elimination Chamber.
He was in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
because
AJ
that's
AJ. That's when it started.
That's what am I blanking on?
That's when it was like AJ flew around across the entire country just to cost LA Knight.
Didn't win that one. Obviously, this is the big match for LA Knight.
Yep.
And I hope he gets his win. Time for the match of the night, baby. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. Logan Paul's defending. I think this has everything for match of the night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And give me Logan Paul just because SummerSlam's in Ohio. They already have Logan Paul on the poster. They already got him as the poster boy for SummerSlam. He's probably gonna have one more defense before SummerSlam. I do see that happening, but Logan Paul is absolutely winning this match, and the only reason Kevin Owens is in there is to take the pin. It's gonna be Randy Orton versus Logan Paul in Ohio. And I can't wait to watch Logan Paul get RKO'd 6 different times at WrestleMania, and for Randy Orton to hold up that title, or not at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam, and Randy to hold up that title. But give me Logan Paul.
Let's go, Low Gang.
I have a strange prediction. Logan's not winning because at SummerSlam, in his great state of Ohio, he will be winning the World Heavyweight Championship.
Whoa! All right. I have Logan Paul winning this match. We just have to fire through these next 3.
Yep. Yeah.
Time. Io Sky versus Bayley for the Women's Championship.
Bayley.
Yeah, I'm going to take Bayley as well. World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. This is my prediction. I'm going to fire it off real quick. I think Damian Priest comes out to cash in. Finn Balor costs him the cash in, turns on him because they lose the tag titles the night before. Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio split later in the month after WrestleMania. Judgment Day breaks up. Finn versus Damian at Backlash carries a couple months feud, and then they end up both back in the world title picture for like a fatal 4-way sometime down the line.
God.
I don't know about
Give me
that.
Drew McIntyre.
I do think Drew's gonna win just because Seth needs time to cover from injury. But I also think Damian Priest tries to cash in, but I don't think Finn Balor costs him. I think they're just gonna really give Drew his moment. He's gonna beat Seth. Damian's gonna come to try and cash in. He's gonna get Claymored, and then Drew McIntyre's just gonna get 2 pops in the same night just because he deserves it. He really does. Didn't get his moment in front of fans before. He's getting 2 moments in front of the fans now.
Yeah, I have McIntyre, but the one X factor in this is CM Punk is involved in this somehow. In some way, CM Punk is getting involved in this.
He definitely will.
So I'm picking McIntyre, but I think Punk is gonna mess something up.
All right, and the championship match, the final match on the card, the main event, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
You want to talk about a pop, brother. Cody Rhodes is about to get 5 of them. He is winning this match because the Bloodline storyline no longer needs the title. I do think they're going to build to Rock versus Roman. I do think there's going to be a whole bunch of civil war in the Bloodline, just like they did with Jimmy and Jay, just like they did when Jay left. But they don't need the title for it because The Rock doesn't need the title and Roman doesn't need the title anymore. If they do Cody Rhodes dirty twice at Mania, he might as well go back to TNA because he's just not going to get back over. Give me Cody Rhodes. Whoa.
You're up, Frank.
Listen, I was at WrestleMania last year. I bought the white belt. I bought the shirt. I thought Cody was going to do it. I left in pain. I can't have the same feeling 2 years in a row.
I can't have it the same
Cody
feeling
Rhodes
twice.
is finishing the story. Do you understand me? I'm not going to sit there for another 4 hours and watch another pay-per-view and be heartbroken. I'm expecting all the shenanigans. I'm expecting Cena. I'm expecting Austin. I'm expecting Sammy.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be like Endgame all over again, and it's gonna be so good.
2 years ago, I would have complained about some funky finishes, but I need everything tomorrow. I need everything Sunday night.
All right.
I need Austin. I need Cena.
We do have a caller, but before that, I'm going to give my prediction. I'm going Cody Rhodes, finish the story. He's going to win. This will be big involvement. It's going to be Avengers Endgame level at WrestleMania. You there, David?
David?
Hello.
David, you there?
Shalom.
David?
Shalom.
I don't know what happened to him.
Place him in queue. That's on my end. Oh, I have to get him back on here maybe if he calls back. But yeah, that has been it for the Blitz here on 91.3 FM at WBNY, Buffalo's original. Huh. Oh, is he there? Is he on speaker? Here, can I see your phone? Armando. Hey, David, that's not my fault. Speak into the phone, your pick.
Wait, what are we talking about? I was listening.
Cody versus Roman. That's we need your pick.
It's Cody, obviously.
It has to be.
They're not gonna have the storyline build up for another year. We should have gotten that at WrestleMania 39. We're not gonna have it build up to WrestleMania 40 for him to lose again. makes no sense.
I agree.
Royal Rumble twice. There's no way he's not winning. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
Confirmed, obviously.
All right. David, thank you. I appreciate you calling in there. Sorry about the hang up there at first, but you got David's predictions. He's picking Cody as well. But once again, that has been the Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. I just want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in, joining us. Obviously, Alex, first time in the studio. Everyone else, the regulars here as well, and have a great day. We'll see you guys. I don't know about Monday, but stay safe and don't look at the eclipse if you want to keep your vision.
At JBach22.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Evan Osby. No caps, no spaces, no nothing.
Twitter, I got a little funny one, Splunk, SPLU_NK.
And myself, Evan Harrington. You can find me on Instagram at EvanHarrington_63 and on Twitter at EvanH.
You can follow me on X at _D capital WNOY.
You can follow me on Instagram at FrankLopez_561 or on X/Twitter at Frank561Lopez. You can follow me at Twitter, X, whatever you still like to call it, at DJacobello17. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for joining us on this Wacky Wednesday.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Blitz on 91.3 FM WBNY.